Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah. I'm here today with Andrea. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know if it's Andrea or Andrea, behind the Ocean Protocol Twitter Space account. Andrea, welcome.
Hey Noah. Great to be here. Hi, Crypto Twitter. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you guys are.
Right on. So, Andrea, am I pronouncing it correctly? I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right, so I'm not mispronouncing it throughout the entire course of the broadcast.
Yeah, Andrea is fine. It's perfect.
So, Andrea, before we get started talking about Ocean Protocol, do you want to give us a quick background of yourself, your origin story, and how you found yourself working in Web3? Hello.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you. Sorry, I don't know if you caught my last question. I was just saying, before we get started talking about Ocean Protocol, do you want to give us a quick background of yourself, your origin story, and how you found yourself working in Web3?
Yeah, for sure. By the way, quick note, apologizing, but I'm connecting with a VPN from the UAE, so the connections aren't great sometimes here. But yeah, so I've been within the Ocean community for the past 3 years. I joined the core team just about a year ago, and I'm covering currently both product and marketing. So just been in the crypto space for about 6 years now. So my first touch point was in 2017, very early 2017. And I was previously working. I was doing investment banking in the past. Then moved on to a Web2 company on the product side, and then just jumped into the rabbit hole here. So never came out of it. Still here. And for those of you that are keen to kind of continue the conversation, my username is 2720.eth. Super great to be here with all the community today.
That's awesome. It makes two of us. And okay, so tell us about Ocean Protocol. Give us a high-level overview, and then we can jump into nuts and bolts from there. Hey, Acti, are you able to hear me? Did you hear my last question? I'm just making sure that I'm not bugging out.
Yeah, you're coming through fine.
I think it might be Andrea's VPN. Andrea, are you still with us? Yeah, I think he might be having VPN issues, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot him a message. Okay, so we're going to have him reconnect, and hopefully that solves the problem. I didn't know that folks in Dubai had to use a VPN to use Twitter Spaces. It's the first time I'm hearing that. So while he rejoins, we got about 150 people in here. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope it's going well. We had a great week last week. We had a, oh, here we go. Let's try this again.
Hello, audio check.
Hi, Andre. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Cool. Let's try it again. So, the first question is just, what is Ocean Protocol? Give us a high-level overview before we jump into the nuts and bolts, and how does it create opportunity within the data science and AI fields?
Cool. So you guys asked about the quick intro before. I was having VPN issue here in Dubai. So did you get the answer to that, or should I just
No, we didn't. I didn't get anything.
No.
Let's start from the top. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. All right. So I've been in the Ocean community for the past 3 years. Joined in
Oh no,
2019.
we got your intro, we got your background. So the question that I didn't get the answer to was, what is Ocean Protocol? Give us a high level overview before we jump into nuts and bolts.
Yeah,
and then yeah.
super. All right, so we're in 2023. I'll just do a quick premise. We're in 2023, and society pretty much runs on data. And yet, much of this data, if you think about it, is controlled by a handful of companies. And these companies have either both massive data sets and the AI knowledge to turn these data sets into value, right? So the question that Ocean has asked itself is, how can we equalize access to data so that we can create the biggest opportunity for data scientists and data builders to make the most of modern AI and compute? So the answer to this is with building a decentralized orchestration layer for AI, which uses all the Web3 principles of data sovereignty, but also privacy preserving technology that Ocean uses to allow data sharing and monetization. Trent is one of our founder. He's been working within the AI field since the early 90s. So basically everything that we do has one simple objective and kind of drives the day-to-day operations, and it is unlocking and democratizing data for AI to kickstart a new movement that we like to call it this new data economy. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, it does. And I guess diving a bit deeper, how exactly are you guys planning on implementing these solutions?
Right. So some of the Web3 values and principles are obviously self-sovereignty, your key, your wallet, and that applies to your data as well, right? So the way that we think of data is essentially as IP. We apply blockchain technology and Ocean smart contracts to data in a highly efficient system where organizations and users can safely monetize data without any privacy concerns. So going back to my example before, I was mentioning about these companies piling up data because they aren't ready to share it, or at least they don't want to share it because of privacy concerns. What we do at Ocean is we created the privacy preserving technology where companies can share data without actually sharing that data. So you can get the insights out of the data, but you aren't able to see the data points itself. And from a technological standpoint, the way that it works is we use non-fungible tokens, which we all know as NFTs, which they all have the benefits of being easily integratable with the DeFi ecosystem. And so the data NFTs ERC-721 are basically functioning as the IP of the data. And then we created and we connected ERC-20 tokens to every NFT. So if you create a data set on Ocean, for example, that data set is going to be stored as an NFT. And then you can create as many access licenses to that data as you want with multiple ERC-20. So very quick example, say you have a huge data set, you want to sell the first 500,000 rows. You can create one license that costs, say, $100. It's probably going to cost more than that, but and then you also can create a second license that gives access to maybe 750,000 rows, and stuff like this, right? You can create different pricing models and customize these licenses pretty much as you like.
That's awesome. So is this something that's currently usable and live, and how easy is it for someone to leverage this technology?
Yeah, so it's we currently have different ways of engaging, and this is something that we're aiming to improve in 2023. Is one of our core objective. Normally, data scientists, or call them data builders, people building on Web3, they would normally engage with the two libraries that we have. We have OceanPy library and the OceanJS library. At a smart contract level, everything is already deployed. We're on V4 right now. So all of these customization features are already available to use. On the front end side, we have the Ocean Market. And basically, the Ocean Market is the decentralized data marketplace that kind of serves as the first entry point for people to understand what part of Ocean. But some of the features I mentioned before are not available on a front end. They're only available with using the kind of the middlewares, so all the libraries.
Okay, got it. I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around it a bit. Can you dive a bit deeper into how you guys excuse me, into how you guys are bringing blockchain and data science together? Because you talked about the utilization of NFTs, and you talked about the democratization of data. I'm kind of missing how you're able to bring them together, but then also allow users and people online to leverage those two today.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So I'm not gonna philosophically we could get into the definition. So for now, we're just sticking with data science is the discipline of making data useful, and blockchain. We could say that blockchain is a growing list of records that are linked using cryptography, right? So if we stick to these two definitions, what we get here is we have really high quality data. So all new records on chain go through a strict blockchain specific validation, which means data is pretty much well structured, right? And we also have large data volumes. And if we think about machine learning, if we think about AI, where they need huge ton of data to train the algorithms, the more data, the better. We can get these data from mature blockchains like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana. So what we do is obviously these two perks and kind of these two aspects have brought the growth of new business models such as Nansen and Dune Analytics that we all know. They're pretty much converting these data into readable format, where they're paying you, where they're giving you insights, with their own business model. And what we're doing here at Ocean is we're allowing the Web3 community to leverage this huge amount of data to create data pipelines. And I earlier mentioned the OceanPy library. So what we try to do with the OceanPy library is to give the tools, open source tools, to the data scientist community to work with data pipelines, monetize data across the different phases of the value creation loop. So imagine you want to train an algorithm. There are about 4 or 5 different stages from the data collection to deploying the actual algorithm and then backtesting it and put it in production. So across there's a lot of work going into each one phase, but this work is normally not monetized, right? You monetize the outcome, which is the algorithm, but all the work in between is kind of going lost, right? What we're aiming to achieve is to give data scientists the ability to focus and monetize not only on the outcome but also on the phases. So, for example, you have raw data or you have aggregated data that needs to be cleaned and needs to be put together in a nice format. That takes a lot of time. If you're using the Ocean tools, we're allowing you to monetize the work that you've done to put together that data for another data scientist to buy and use it for their algorithms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And so data scientists are able to pull from the from the Ocean library. Does it cost them anything?
No. So the Ocean is fully open source. So the Ocean library, they can just import it in their Jupyter notebook um, for free. There's really no cost attached. We don't provide the data ourselves. So we're really only providing the infrastructure layer to unlock data and to allow data scientists to kind of handle it. But the when it comes to retrieving data, that's more on the data scientist kind of shoulder.
So looking at the ocean market, I see that there are different allocations of data from different chains, mostly from Polygon, actually what I'm seeing here. And certain data is free, and then certain data costs a certain amount of M ocean. Can you explain how that works? So it's not necessarily free, is it?
Oh yeah. So when it comes to that data, so the ocean market is basically a two-sided marketplace. So we're having data providers and data buyers. The ocean stack is free to use, but obviously within it you have data providers that are allowing you to access their data either for free or at a cost. So what you're seeing now is there's selling their data on the ocean market, or algorithms, because you can also share algorithms on ocean market. And the M ocean bit is pretty much the ocean token on Polygon, and that's why I call it M ocean Matic. Because if we're thinking about free data set, whenever you want to purchase a data set that is on Ethereum, you have to pay fairly high transaction fees. So to kind of avoid that, we're using Polygon. And also for another kind of product that we have, which is data curation, which goes through data farming. But this is a whole different topic that we can talk about it later, just not to confuse anyone. I know there's quite a bit of information here already.
Yeah, for sure. And so the ocean token, can you dive a bit deeper into the utility of that and why there even needs to be a token?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ocean token serves as the main currency for purchasing data set. We have about 230 forks. Great companies like Mercedes, Gaia X, Catena X, these are consortium with more than 30, 40 companies within Europe using the ocean market. And if you guys go on, let me pull out the link. If you guys go on portal.minimal, let me actually just copy and paste it here. You're going to see a lot of different data marketplaces that are being forked and are currently using the ocean stack. And all those data sets are pretty much, you can only purchase them with the ocean token. So that's the main use case. The second use case is also the ability to earn active and passive rewards with data curation, which is the data farming kind of product that I was talking earlier. Basically, the way that it works is I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Numer AI model, but basically with X amount of tokens staked on a data set, the more that data set has consumption, right? So the more time is being bought and sold, the more rewards you earn. That's kind of the high level idea.
Okay, and I get it. I just don't. Why? But why use a token? Why use a native token? Why can't you guys just use like a stable coin?
With a stablecoin, it'll be quite hard to take care of the old Web3 incentive mechanism. So we could do it with we could do it with a stablecoin. The issue there would be not being able to create sort of networks effect or giving the right incentives to the community, purely because we wouldn't be able to use stable coins for all the DeFi aspect when it comes to data curation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense, and I guess we can move on from the token. I was just a little curious about the tokenomics and how it all worked with respect to utilities. So, what opportunities and projects are you most excited about in the space of blockchain data?
Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, so what opportunities and projects are you most excited about in the space of blockchain data?
Right. So in general, I'd say people are becoming way more aware of the importance of their data. And in my opinion, it's probably only a matter of time before we see these evolving into a full-scale movement. We've already seen, a great progress from ChatGPT, where just people are becoming more aware of what you can do with data. So, in my opinion, the big data problem is a multi-trillion market economy. So, any project that is able to unleash even 1% of that market is one project to probably keep an eye on.
Got it. And so bringing it all back together, this is basically an ecosystem where people are able to buy and sell data from each other. It's not something that is like it's not data that is being harvested and then being like democratized and just given to everyone for free, right? There's still money exchanging hands.
Yeah. So let's take a step back. Right now we have data that is siloed, right? So we have huge companies with huge data sets that are not sharing it. But on the other side, we have startups that are craving for data to train their AI and ML models, right? Now, the way that they go about it now is they either pay millions of dollars to access those data sets, or they just don't access it at all, right? And what we're doing here is, obviously, when it comes to data is such an important asset that really valuable alpha data sets are never going to be shared for free. However, what's happening here, which is very different from before, is because it's traceable and because we have privacy preserving technology on top, what we're allowing the community to do is to share it at a more reasonable cost because they know that data is not going to be able to be downloaded. So they can allow third party to run algorithms on top of the data set with a guarantee that that data set is never going to be leaked. It's only going to be used for insights, but it's not going to be downloaded by any party. So whoever owns it retains the IP. There's not going to be data leakage. There's going to be more data shared in the economy. And hence, because the supply is going to be higher, also the cost is going to be lower in general. And that's kind of the concept, right?
Got it. Okay. So far, it seems like there's only blockchain data being shared. Are you guys planning on working with larger companies that hold a lot of this data and legacy industries to kind of integrate that data onto blockchain technology, since there is an incentive to do so?
Yeah, we do actually. I think I just shared. I should have sent it. I just shared a link in the chat. It's the Portal Minimal Gaia X Europe. Is the European initiative with different companies and organizations that are sharing data using Ocean. What basically you guys can see there is if you tap on the ecosystem page, you can see different projects, and each one project has basically a fork of Ocean Market, and they're providing data available there. So the issue with being open source is that you're allowing organizations to fork your code and run and spin off their own data marketplaces, but at the same time you kind of lose control over what data is being shared. So the amount of data available in Ocean Market is probably 1% of the total data that is currently being shared on different forks. We just don't have direct control over it. But what we are doing, and in fact, it's probably a matter of days, we're releasing a new page on the Ocean main website where we're gonna be listing all the partners like Gaia X or Mercedes or other companies that are using us, and pointing them to their website so people can actually see what data is available on different forks.
And I pinned that website to the space, guys, if you want to go check it out.
Nice, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so this is cool. What are some? I can see why bigger companies or even projects would want to buy and sell data through this market. What are some incentives for the average person to utilize Ocean Protocol in the Ocean market?
Right. So there's two main incentives, and this goes back to the kind of like to the tokenomics, right? The ocean tokens are born whenever there are transactions happening on the ocean market. The main incentive is people can actively or passively stake using data farming. So by actively, I believe there's a fixed APY reward, so they have to lock their token to get an APY back. And then for the more active side, people would need to pick and kind of keep an eye on what are the data sets on Ocean Market that are mostly consumed and lock their token in that data set for a certain amount of period. And rewards are then paid every Thursday. I can also point a link to the data farming, how it works exactly. But in general, for say the for typical investors, the easiest way to earn rewards is by using data farming, which is data curation, so to speak.
And okay, so with data curation, so you said the easiest way for the average investor to earn money is through data farming. What do you mean? How does that work with respect to the protocol?
Yeah. All right. So let me dive into data farming a bit more. We spoke about the ocean mission, which is pretty much to level the playing field for data and AI. Then we said the value creation of the data economy is when people are actually consuming a data set. So if people are not consuming data sets from, Gaia X or from any other marketplaces, there's no really value creation there. So consumption of data is one of the key metrics that we're measuring. And whether this consumption is to build a model to predict, ETH price, for example, or to search for MEV opportunities, the value creation is when the data asset is consumed. So what does data farming do is, taking a step back, if we think of Satoshi, right? Satoshi wanted Bitcoin to be secure. Bitcoin incentivizes people to add security to the Bitcoin network by rewarding them with BTC. DEXs like balancers do the same. So data farming pretty much uses this incentive machine, which is inherited in blockchain tokens, to drive consumptions in a way that when participants stake ocean tokens on a certain data set, the higher the data consumed volume, the higher the reward. So the higher the stake, also the higher the reward. And the formula, if I'm not mistaken, the formula is pretty straightforward, and it's DCV, which stands for data consumed volume, times amount stake. And based on how many participants are staking on a certain data set, there's also a variable APY that goes up to 125%. So does that respond?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you for breaking it down for us. And so, Andrea, I guess the last question I had was, what key challenges do you think are faced in the crypto space today, with respect to data science, data harvesting, and everything that we've discussed so far during the course of the podcast?
Ooh, nice questions. Yeah, I think the crypto space have gone through a few ups and downs lately. The market, I'd say, is fairly deleveraged right now compared to months ago. So in general, I'd say that we've definitely proven that crypto, there's enough use cases for crypto to stay, right? Like that's out of discussion. We've seen this from DeFi, NFTs, etc. But a key remaining challenge, in my opinions, are regulators and how they will react to the space. So not saying this is good or bad, just saying that regulations are still not out. And there's an ongoing lawsuit between the SEC and Ripple, which, speculators are calling it to happen in the next few months. We just don't know, really. But that's probably one thing that I would be keeping an eye closely to.
Got it. I think we have Aisha with the question. Aisha, go for it.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. I want to know how will you make sure that any data which is provided by user is accurate, not tampered, and data integrity is maintained?
Thank you, Asha. That's a good question. Thanks for asking it. So that's exactly why data farming comes in. Because before data farming, anyone could upload data set, and there wouldn't really be a verification mechanism. So currently, there's multiple ways. I would say if you fork the Ocean Market, so if you use the Ocean stack and you just use the Ocean Market template to build your own marketplace, you can add layers on top to ensure the privacy, right? Remember that what we're doing is we're not running a centralized marketplace. We're providing the infrastructure for the community to use the core components and then build up their own things, right? So answer number one, if you fork the Ocean Market, you could build security layers on top, like KYC or other things. But if you're using the Ocean Market, for example, we have data curation for that sense. So um, as data farming grows and as more participants enter the space, the data sets with the highest amount of Ocean tokens staked will be naturally the data sets that are most valuable and of greater quality than those perhaps that were uploaded the day before and have no stake on it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I was also thinking, how will you be preventing the selling of stolen personal data that does not belong to publisher, similar to personal data sold on black market and dark web?
Great question. Again, I think organizations looking to use Ocean are going to be adding security layers on top. And for example, the biggest use case that we've seen is people using the Ocean Market to create consortium that uses the market within sort of like a small um, circle of people, like 20, 30 people or 20, 30 organizations, right? When it comes to um, assessing the types of data on the Ocean Market, we obviously don't have direct control over it, but they can be taken down in the sense that they can be hidden from the Ocean Market through a service called Aquarius and Purgatory.
Okay. Okay, I've read on your documents that users can buy or sell data tokens for a fixed or auto-determined price. I was wondering, will data tokens be linked to particular data set which will determine its price, and how will auto-determined price going to be calculated?
Yeah, exactly. So every data set has their own data token. So if you think in the future, to give you an example, uh, say we're living in a world where self-driving cars are obviously becoming more popular, but to make these effective, they need training data, they need traffic data, they need any sort of road related data to train and improve their algorithms. So with the current model that Ocean offers, you could potentially tokenize the data set and create this new movement that we call DataFi. So where you're allowing data set to be traded on, say, Binance, for example, because you're trading the data tokens rather than the actual data. Um, and and you asked also a second question, which I could you repeat the second question, Aisha, please?
Yeah, sure. I asked, how will auto-determined price be calculated?
So we had something called, we had AMMs before. We're still planning to create and improve the pools around Ocean, though they've been deprecated for now, so we could focus on different priorities. But uh, price is something that is currently being set by the publisher, and and so based on the quality of data and the quantity of data, but also on the relevance of the data provided, they can basically set different prices.
Understood. Okay, last thing from me. I was thinking, is the Ocean Protocol platform user interface only designed for data scientists and data analytics experts, or non-technical users can also utilize the platform features to perform data analysis?
Yeah, this is a really good question. Something that we're actually working for 2023. A lot of discussions happening in the team. Currently is more for developers and data scientists, but we are in fact looking at ways to bring these more to the broader community. One thing I'd love to say is that because Ocean is really the underlying infrastructure, what we have is also a funding program. And over the past years, we funded more than 200 projects building on Ocean. Many of these projects do actually have a front end, and many of these projects can be used by non-developers. So remember I was talking about a page that we're releasing this week or next week. On that page, we're going to showcase all the data builders, and so the community can finally go and browse all the different projects within the ecosystem and see what different ways they have to engage with them.
Wonderful. And best wishes for the future plans. Thank you. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aisha. Great questions. Let's go with Venice next.
Yeah, thank you so much, Noah. Okay, as you mentioned, people cannot download the data sets and can use it only for training their models. So will you be providing an IDE where people can code and use the data set to train their model? I mean, is there any plan to also provide a platform like Google Colab for people who does not have GPU to deep train their data?
Thank you, Venice, for the question. So again, this is something that we're discussing internally. We're having multiple conversations with the community to understand whether we should focus on products more or we should just focus on the smart contracts level. Because we also have these different projects within the ecosystem that are using the Ocean stack to provide products and toolings on top, right? So for now, we don't have anything planned because we're really focusing on improving the core foundation of Ocean, which are the access controls and all the smart contracts. But we have been having conversations around products quite a bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have that. For reference, there is a new product that launched, and it's called D-Sites. I'll share the link here. And what they do is they run a data competition platform where it's basically built on Ocean, where every submission, say data scientists are submitting algorithms in a Kaggle like competition right now. The algorithm is being sent as part of the submission, and the data scientist doesn't own the algorithm anymore. So say American Express or any other companies are using that algorithm in production, the data scientist is really not getting any benefit out of it, right? So with this new product that is built on Ocean, the idea is that if data scientists are building great algorithms and companies are using them, they could forever, until they stop using those algorithms, earn royalties every time, right? So this is a way. They have an interface. They're planning to integrate more tooling for data scientists to work and train the algorithms directly from the platform, but we don't offer these ourselves. That's kind of the short answer.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I also read about Ocean Shipyard Grant Program. So it got me thinking that is there any plan to work with universities or colleges to find potential startup ideas from students to bring them in the grant program and help them or financing them to bring their idea to a fruitful product?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a bit of context for everyone. Shipyard is a $2 million funding program from ocean to any builders that is looking to build an ocean, right? So we actually are trying to increase visibility. So universities are definitely a great place for putting this opportunity in front of students.
Okay, and what happens if the final grant deliverables do not meet the expected standards? Then what will your team do?
Good question. Because I'm actually not part of that team, don't have the answer to this, but I believe there's in place. So, if the contract says you're meant to deliver A, and then you are delivering A, but the quality is arguably high, actually, I think is probably going to be a conversation between the founder and the team. I don't know actually.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, while I was going through the website, I came to know about Ocean Academy. So I want to know that is it possible for a person with no prior knowledge to enroll in Ocean Academy and gain enough skills to complete a successful project? And what language does it support except English?
Ooh, I think for now, so Ocean Academy is fantastic. I actually that's the way that I got to know Ocean, by the way, and it's pretty easy, but also not too easy, right? So you have to spend a bit of time to really understand it, but it's also doable. So I think I completed Ocean Academy in about 20 minutes, but it really gave me good knowledge. I think it's only available in English right now. But again, we are trying to communicate more with the community. So if we see that we should be supporting more languages, it really takes little time for us to translate it and make it available in multiple language.
Yeah, and I also read that anyone can become an ambassador by completing Ocean 101. So could you please tell us what benefits does an ambassador has? Will there be any kind of salary for that ambassador, or how will it work for ambassador? What benefits it can provide to him?
Right. So the idea is that Ocean could be quite complicated to understand, and Ocean Academy helps providing people with a basic understanding of Ocean, right? And then once you pass Ocean Academy, you then can apply to become an ambassador. And as part of the ambassador program, you have what we call just because we like the name farming, we have this concept called activity farming. So you can pretty much work on given tasks, whether that's a Twitter thread or whether that's a YouTube video, and claim rewards from that activity. But there's also different tasks like bounties and different initiatives in general that are always changing every month. And people can just talk to the ambassadors leads, and to get a better understanding of what the activities are around that month. It's actually not a program that is directly managed by Ocean, but it was an initiative by a community member, and they got funded in the past by Ocean DAO. So currently, it's pretty much an official program, but it's still being handled by very loyal old school community members, and those are you can speak to them. They're very easy to talk to, and they're all in Discord right now.
Yeah, I understand that. And one last thing from my side regarding Ocean 101. Also, there's a referral program, and people can get 15 USD by completing Ocean 101. So, don't you think once a person can complete Ocean 101, he can try to attempt multiple accounts to claim the reward more? So, how do you plan to cater this issue or this cheat mechanism by people?
I mean, referrals can always be cheated, right? And I think for now we have, I think $15 referral whenever you bring 3 people. So technically, they could game the system. For now, it's quite time consuming to do it. But I think if someone wants to game something, there's always a way to game it. So it really depends on the kind of what's the opportunity cost to do so.
Okay, that's great. And thank you so much for answering all my questions. It's been great talking to you.
No, thanks, Venice. Looking forward to see you in Discord then.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Venice. Next up, we have Yusei, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Yusei.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Yusei from Japan, and I started to run Ocean last end of the year, and I have a question. You know, for not only Web3 people, but also a lot of people to use. How Ocean need a lot of data, and how Ocean collect more data.
Yep.
Got
So if I understand, the question is, how does Ocean provide more data, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great question. So I would say our key metric would be the number of forks, because Ocean itself doesn't collect data directly, but it does collect data indirectly, in the sense that the more people building an Ocean, the more data sets are being provided, right? And we have this concept of data unions, which is a great concept. And if you think about, Web3 social media platforms, what you see is that at the core of these social media platforms should be data sovereignty. So if you're using a Web3 Instagram platform, what you want to make sure is that when you when you're collecting your wallet, whatever data you're producing remains within that wallet, obviously, right? And so these concept of data unions, what it does is it collects all the individual data into a pool of data, and whenever this data is made available with privacy preserving technology, then you could have millions of data points of how general users are interacting with a certain platforms, right? So our key objective is mostly to allow these new ideas, these new concepts to flourish by providing the tools. And so the number of forks, the number of builders, just the amount of funding that we give to the community to build is generally something that we're looking at growing over time.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you very much. And I am also a Japanese community manager of Ocean Protocol, and I want to enliven Ocean Protocol in Japan. And yeah, thank you very much.
That's cool. Thank you, Yusei. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Yusei, for the questions, and welcome to the panel. Yeah, Rahmat, I think you're the last question of the space, sir. Go for it.
Yeah, thank you. Now, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, so a few questions. So I was thinking, what if the publisher deletes the data before it has been downloaded by the buyer who has paid for the data, as publisher will be in the full control of the data. So I was thinking, will buyer be able to maybe launch complaint and retrieve the data he paid for?
Ooh, these are really good question. In fact, this is sort of the issue with Web3, right? Like customer service and blah blah blah. If we're thinking about, a Web3 Uber, like, Uber is working because at some point they had discounts. You would be able to claim a refund if the ride wasn't great, right? And that was completely handled in a centralized manner. With Ocean, what you do is you can put your data sets for sale at a price. People can purchase it, they can download it. Obviously, if you purchase the data token to access the data set, but you don't download it, and then the data set is being removed, I don't think there's a way to kind of retrieve that data set. So this is where curation comes in, and this is where the security layers on top of what we've built need to be established by the people that are using us. And that's why we have, for example, very strict KYC or KYB, know your business, when customers like Mercedes with Accentric are using us. What they do is make sure that once they force stack and they deploy it to their customers, they have certain services on top that allows for this to kind of not happen, right? But on the ocean market is I mean, obviously, if you're buying it, you also want to download it straight away, right? That's kind of the idea. But if you don't, for some reason, downloaded it and you wait, a month or 2 months, and the data set is not available anymore, then we don't have a way to retrieve that data for you because we don't have visibility nor access to any data that is available because it's fully decentralized.
Yeah, understood. Okay, so as a data NFT represents the copyright of our data assets on the blockchain, I was thinking when a data NFT is transferred or sold to a new owner, will new owner going to have all the copyrights to this data, particular data?
Yeah, and it's mostly important that data provenance is there because right now, if you're bringing Web2 data into Web3, um, the issue is provenance, right? You don't know where the Web2 data came from, and it doesn't mean that if you're, for example, say you're stealing data from someone, not you, but just in general, someone is bringing stolen data from Web2 and uploading into Web3. Doesn't mean that they can claim ownership of it, right? But if the data was minted for the first time in Web3, then obviously you can track the provenance and claim copyright of it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so I've read on your documents that you are also planning to see data NFTs linked to the physical items via Wise key chips. So can you tell us more about your this vision?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. So I was going through your documents and I've read that you are also planning to see data NFTs linked to a physical items like Wise key chips. So can you tell us more about your this vision?
Ooh, I'm actually not. Ooh, you're really up to date. I'm actually not able to respond to this question. I think there's potential use cases of data NFTs linked to physical items, but with the specific example that you gave, I'm actually not.
Yeah, I've read about Wise key chips. I'm not also sure, so I wanted to know that what are these Wise key chips that you will be utilizing for your NFTs. So I can ask that in your Discord. So moving to my next question. So on your document, it's mentioned about fractional ownership and the sharding of the data NFTs. So I want to understand that how will fractional ownership going to be established for the data NFT, and how will revenue going to be distributed? And what is sharding of the data NFT?
Yeah. So this is sort of like something that I briefly touched upon before with when I mentioned DataFi as kind of a new movement, right? Think of taking the example of self-driving cars again, and taking the example of consortium having different organizations pulling their data together to create a bigger data set. What you can do is you can allow people to trade, these data set in a fractionalized manner, so that rather than you know rather than purchasing a data token that cost $1 million, for example, you can divide this data token into fractional pieces and trade it on an exchange. So the way that you trade stocks or cryptos nowadays, you'd be able to trade a fraction of a certain data set, again, without accessing that data set because it's probably going to be a wrap token or a derivative. But the idea is to allow people to trade data, whether it's a fractionalized manner or not, to just trade it to make it more liquid without necessarily seeing it, right? So there's two use cases. Use case number one is I need to buy the data to see it and to use it and to train my algorithms. But the use case number 2 that we're also working on is to use data as a financial instrument. So H2O, for example, is a great way, is a stable asset that is backed by Ocean and data. And we're trying to step in here more to bring data into the financial sector so that it can be traded. It just can be traded.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so moving to my next question. So I've read about this challenge that you guys have set in place regarding analyzing the evolution of the air pollutants in Catalonia over the past 3 decades. So can you tell us about this challenge?
Yeah. So one of the issue is providing data, and another issue is sometimes companies have data but they don't know what to do with it. That's also an issue. If we're talking about mid-sized enterprises, they maybe don't have as dedicated team to do data analysis. They don't have the resources to get the best out of the data. So the data challenges that we're running are basically meant to provide more data set on Ocean Market. But on the other side, we also want to create useful insights, analytics, or eventually dashboards or even products from that data that is being provided by a company for the company. So Catalonia is the most recent air pollution of Catalonia is the most recent example. The idea is to get some high quality submissions to help Catalonia solve issue around air pollution. And the way to do so is by using the data competition platform that I mentioned earlier, so that whenever data scientists are participating and they're submitting their algorithms, if the algorithm is winning, not only they're winning the prize pool, but they can also earn the royalties from the usage of that algorithm in the future because it's a data NFT.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear? Hello?
Yeah, David.
Yeah,
Give,
got it.
That's good. Yeah.
give us
Yeah, I'm here.
I prefer. I just.
David. Give us 1 sec. I want to make sure that Rahmat finished his questions, and then I will call on you. Rahmat, go for it, man.
Yeah, sorry, I was having a little bit of issue. Okay, so this challenge is hosted on DSites AI. So can you quickly tell us about DSites AI platform, and is it a subsidiary of the Ocean Protocol? It's a separate entity.
Yeah, separate entity. It's an independent project that is using the Ocean stack. So at the core, they're using the Ocean.js library that is connected to all the Ocean smart contracts to orchestrate access rights and kind of the royalty mechanisms. But it's a separate platform that is actually being built by an ex Ocean core team members and is run independently right now.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. Thank you so much. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, Sayed. Great questions from the audience today, guys. Fantastic. David, you were the last one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have the different question, different background. The people most, I think they talk about the technology science. I tell what we going to do. We have the couple of foundation. We want to build up the globally innovation, education, and media. So this is quickly in the globally in the Asia, especially China. We have the one funding is 1,000 the private school funding. We will set up the innovation education major focus on the blockchain and the AI. So because these two technology innovation, so we'll set up the innovation center in thousands of school, high school and universities. So that is over the background. So for that, for blockchains, all the coming up the self data, SSI, the data. So we're looking for some very like a company, they have the capacity, different company to working together So my question is how we set up, how we need a specific discussion, how we working together. We can create the data. So between this gap, how can we deliver some the program for the students? Because the majority, the people need to know all that is from university and the high school network globally. So this is all the planning, all the funding we prepare for that. So we're looking for the partner who have the capacity, how we align together, how we working together. That's my questions. And how to protect the student data, how to help the students create, developing the mentor them to developing them to the future innovation, involving innovation side. Yeah. So,
Thank you, David. So just to confirm, there is someone going to be providing the data, I'm guessing, and this data is going to be used for mostly research purposes, right? So it's going to be made available for free. Is this correct?
I think the most we try to protect, because blockchain we focus on SSI, is to, for example, millions of students, they set up their own the data. So this is the one project. They protect their own build. Then they put, looks like your platform in infrastructure. The question is how we working together. This is a gap. We need a program to education students understanding blockchain. What's the bridge, the cost of the understanding, and understanding how they build up the program together.
Got it. Would you like to take these offline, because we might, we're probably running out of time. It's a quite a sophisticated conversation.
Yeah.
But if you'd like, we can set up, say, like half-an-hour meeting. I can kind of take you through the concepts of data NFTs and data tokens that I explained here.
Very good.
So that we can apply it to your business case.
Yeah.
Drop me a message. My Twitter username is 2720.eth.
Yeah.
And then we can take it from there.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, can you repeat again? Or do you have the telephone number, or?
Hold up. 1 second, David. So sorry to interrupt. So what Andrea was asking was if you could shoot him a DM offline and ask this question so that you and him can talk about the question and really go into it, because it is a sophisticated question and it is going to require quite a bit of unpacking. And just for time purposes and the sake of the broadcast, we would like for you guys to move that conversation online.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Just can you tell your Twitter number again?
Yes, it's 2720.eth.
EDH. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Bitcoin Apostle, do you have a quick question before I wrap things up? Okay, guess not. Hey, Andrea, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about data science and what you guys are doing by integrating that, or rather leveraging blockchain and Web3 to make it more democratized and make it so that more people have access to data that is traditionally held and kept closed off in these individual silos. So learned a lot. I would love to have you on in the future, because I think there's a lot more that I can learn, and I think there's a lot more that the audience can learn about this niche of the industry. It's something that I hadn't really dove into much, and it's pretty exciting. I think it's going to be a big game changer going forward. I think you guys are just scratching the surface. So if there's anything I haven't asked about yet, or anything that you want to tell us about, or if you want to leave us with some parting words, go ahead and do so now. But I really appreciate your time, sir.
Nah, all good from my side. I just wanted to really extend my congrats and my thanks to the community for asking so many questions. Huge engagement. Congrats, Noah, for moderating the session. And I'm looking forward to see you guys the next time with more updates, maybe on the product side. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, sure. To echo that, community members, incredible questions today. You guys carried the space, and it's been a pleasure. So everyone, remember that that you, everyone remember everything you hear on these broadcasts is meant for educational purposes only. Nothing is financial advice. So be safe out there, and we'll see you in about an hour for another space. Take care.
See you guys. Have a good day. Bye.